Alright, the final two clans for Reverse Clan Collection Wave 1, along with a Evolved Lyrical Monasterial boss unit. So let's begin. But first, cards for the last few days. So first off, we started with Pure and Correct Yokomina, Grade 2, tanky power, and it's a rare and it's skillless. Count Rearguard. If you play an order this turn, this card gets boosts. For those Lyrical Monasterial decks that focus on playing orders, this can be very useful, especially sometimes you will lack some grade 1 boosters or random calls. So pretty decent to play. Next, a triple rare, Amazing Grove Regena, Grade 1, 8 pound skillless. Auto Rearguard. At the end of the battle that this unit boosts it Ernest correct. If you have a Vanguard with Carissa, cost Soul Blast 1, retire this unit, search your deck for one grade 3 or less Ernest correct card, and add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck of course. So basically it's another consistency searcher for Ernest correct, and in many ways this is also your main Persona Ride searcher because it's any grade 3 or less Ernest correct, which your grade 3 Carissa is a Ernest correct. So definitely play this for Ernest correct. And then we get a double rare, Speaker of Heavenly Voice Hellel, Grade 1 8 pound skillless, White Wings, odd grades in your mind zone only. Auto, when placed on rearguard from hand during your main phase, cost counterblast 1, choose a White Wing card from your drop zone other than itself and call it to open rearguard. Very nice and better than Emmanuel in a way because Emmanuel 1 is a 7k base and the second part for Emmanuel is that it also costs an extra Soul Blast. Yes, this one has to call it to a rearguard, but I'd rather save resources. So definitely run this for your Celestial deck. If you want to play White Wings, definitely play it. And then for the Tuesday stream, before we go to the main reveals, here's some encounter cards that will be in Overdress 5. So we got Marin and Wingo, which looks like obvious ride line with Blaster Blade, or at least most likely, and also the return of Kay and Benavir. Really looks like they're trying to go for the Psyqualia legend in the first season. And now to the new Alistus cards. Our first card is Next Step Leptune, Grade 1 8 pound skillless. Auto, when placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard is Alistus, choose a grade 2 or less Alistus from your soul and call it to open rearguard as rest. If it's during the battle, you can call it as stand. So comboing for more multi-attack plus boosting on top of it with this card. Definite must play for Alistus. And now we evolve Kairi to an actual mermaid, Alistus Live Kairi. Grade 4, 13 power, keep in mind triple drive, and the skill is Count Vanguard. All your rearguards placed this turn gets plus 5k. Remember Alistus' playstyle, bouncing and superior calling mid-battle. And since this first skill doesn't matter what phase you're on, you're gonna get extra 5k power boost no matter what. And it's free, so that's already pretty good. But the second skill, Auto Vanguard. When this card attacks, if your soul has Kairi, choose up to 2 of your rearguards, return them to your hand, and then choose 2 cards from your hand and call them to rearguard. So basically it's a combination of the 2 skills of Kairi without the Persona Ride restriction, and it's also free. Magnolia all over again. And on top of that, there's also the 5k buff. And luckily the second skill doesn't need you to have rearguards for it to activate because it says up to 2, so at least that if you're not able to do stuff in the main phase, at least that you could superior call them in the battle phase because there's a lot of skills for Alistus that trigger during the battle. So yeah, definitely worth as an evolution. And now to the clan collection stuff. We're gonna start off with Aqua Force with Tier Knight Valeria, Grade 2 90 pound skillless. Count rearguard. During the battle this card attack, if it's the 4th battle or more, plus 10k. I mean that's fine, restand target, why not? Second skill, Auto Vanguard rearguard. When this card attack hits a Vanguard, if it's the 3rd battle or more, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. If it's still 4th battle, draw a card. So it's a big beefy beater that if it hits you get some bonuses. Now I don't think it's worth running this card because I'd rather run those restanding rearguards than run a restand target, but for decks that rather have a restand target, I guess this is worth running. Next, Cobalt Wave Dragon, Grade 3, 12k power, excellent skills. Auto Vanguard. When your rearguard attacks, this card gets plus 5k power until the end of turn. This will correlate with the second skill because Auto Vanguard, when this card attacks, cost combust 1, perform all these following abilities depending on how much power it has. 25k or more, gains 1 crit until the end of turn. 30k or more, switch all your front row rearguards and back row rearguards in between columns. 35k or more, all your front row units get plus 10k. So in many ways, this is basically a regular Aqua Force like normal where you want your rearguards to attack first and then your Vanguard attack last. Because as your rearguards attack, it builds up this card's power which will be more skills. And overall, I really like this card. It's a nice budget alternative for many decks and can be pretty much its own new deck. So if you want to build a budget-friendly Aquaforce deck that doesn't focus on any expensive cards, this is worth building a deck around, especially you got other alternate Aquaforce units that are also pretty cheap and can be your backup. And I'm pretty tempted to play it too because it just looks cool. Finally, to the Corrupted Admiral, Blue Storm Karma Dragon, Maelstrom Yaeverse. Grade 3, total power, excel, and skills. Auto Vanguard. At the end of battle that your rearguard attack, if the attack did not hit, cost locked a stand rearguard, this card gets plus 10k power in a turn. If you have a Maelstrom in your soul, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it. Remember, Aquaforce does a lot of small pokes, and many times your rearguards are not going to attack hit anything without boosting. And even if your boosted rearguard does stand back up, the second attack with that same rearguard normally is not going to be boosted, so you can use this skill to lock that instead. Now I prefer you not do that because you do want to build up those attack numbers for his second skill. Because the second skill is Auto Vanguard. When this card attacks, if it's the 4th battle or more, cost counterblast 1, this card gets plus 1 crit, drive plus 1 until the end of turn. And then at the end of that battle, if this card does not attack it, for each of your locked cards, your opponent chooses a card from their hand or rear guard and puts it into their drop zone. Just like old Maelstrom Yaeverse, it's either they take the 2 damage in the face or they get screwed over another way. And I really love this card a lot for that. Because with this new version, if they don't let the attack hit, they could end up losing even more cards than taking the 2 damage in the face. Because the idea of this card is that you want to build up as many lock cards as possible. And considering that your rear guards are going to do a lot of small pokes in many cases, and in many cases they're not going to hit without boosting, your build up to the 4th attack is usually not much of an issue other than playing against Link Joker. And that is a problem I have with this card's second skill, is that it requires the 4th attack, even though the first skill kind of already encouraged you to do more attacks with your rear guards first. But I really love this card because of screwing up your opponent even hits or not. Now another problem I will see with this card is the Maelstrom support card with V. Because most of the Maelstrom cards in V can count your attacks as hit even if they did not hit. And considering that both this card and Glory wants a Maelstrom in Soul, it means that you're still going to be using regular Maelstrom as your first ride for the deck. Which means those attack hit enablers will also be in it. So I do see some deck building issues when it comes to V, but overall, I still love this card. Now to the new Revengers. Our first card is Self-Control Revenger Rekia. Grade 1, AK Power and Skills. Auto Soul. Once per turn, when your Grade 3 Revenger is placed on Vanguard by riding on top of a Grade 2, search your deck for one Grade 1 Revenger in its card name and call it to rearguard as rest. I mean, free +1s are always nice, and it's a Revenger ride target, so it's fine. But the second skill, act rearguard once per turn, cost Soul Blast 2, use a Grade 2 Revenger from a drop zone and call it to a rearguard in the same column as this unit. Another way of recovery, and luckily Raging Form Dragon is going to re-ride a lot, so the soul does kind of build up, so I can only say that this skill is okay, especially recycling from the drop zone really does help, because there's too much calling from deck, especially in premium. Next, Overcoming Revenger Rukia. Grade 2, tank power and skills. Auto, when rolled upon by a Revenger, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose a Revenger from among them that is grade equal or less than your opponent's Vanguard and add it to your hand. Put the rest of the bottom deck in any order. Your grade 2 ride target for Revengers, and also searching is always nice. And the second skill, count rearguard. If you have a grade 1 Revenger in the same column as this unit, this card gives us 5k. So 15 plus 8 equals 23, so I guess a 23k attack, which is okay, but not completely necessary. Finally, Revenger, Raging Fall Dragon Yaeverse. Grade 3, 30 power, force, and its skills. Act Vanguard. Cost, lock one of your Revenger rearguards, choose 3 Revenger units, and they get plus 5k power in a turn. Keep in mind, this is not once per turn, and you do want to do this multiple times in a turn for the second skill, because the second skill is Auto Vanguard. Once per turn, at the end of the battle that this card attacked, cost counterblast 3, discard 3 cards from your hand, choose up to 2 of your standing rear guards and lock them. Then if you have 2 or more lock cards or 5 damage, stand this unit. This cost is reduced by 1 counterblast for each of your lock card, which is why you want to build up the first skill to lock it at least 3 times so your counterblast is 0. Now this may seem underwhelming at first glance and it might not look like it synergizes with Raging Form, and basically it's another win condition, but actually this could actually counter Link Joker, because the second skill wants you to build up lock cards. You don't even have to lock 2 rear guards to stand this. It says up to 2, so if you already have those locked rear guards, you don't even need to lock the 2. You could just do 0 counterblast if you have the 3 locked cards already. And the discard 3 might be a little much, but keep in mind it restands itself, so you don't need to rely on having another copy in your hand, which is not too bad as a trade-off. And in many ways, the first skill pretty much builds up more power than what you get as boosters. And in some cases, you're basically sacrificing your rear guards by locking them instead of retiring them. Now that might be hurtful in some decks, especially in Premium where they want to be retired, but this overall does give you another win con. Especially because this one works better with Chain Ranker than regular Raging Form, because regular Raging Form does require you to do the Spirit Ride. And speaking of regular Raging Form, in V, this with Raging Form can possibly give you 4 Vanguard attacks in a turn, because you could go Raging Form attack, use the skill to retire 3 to Superior Ride, and then use Raging Form 4 damage skill to Superior Call another one so you have 3 rear guards again, and then do another Raging Form attack after your rear guards attack to do another Superior Ride, this time for Raging Fall Dragon. Raging Fall Dragon attacks, and then uses the second skill to counterblast 3. Even though it looks like it's a lot, it's actually not much for Revengers because many Revengers do not actually use counterblasts. And keep in mind, Raging Form Dragon Superior Ride skill does not cost a counterblast either. So this 3 counterblast is not really that hurtful, and you're very likely at that point to have the 3 cards in your hand anyway, so you could restand this again for a 4th attack. Yeah, pretty good shenanigans right here. Now in Premium, there is definitely different shenanigans going on, although when it comes to the use of Chain Ranker, this definitely has more synergy than the regular Raging Form. So overall, it's not entirely what I expected, but it is an alternate way to play the Raging Form Dragon deck. And also, if you mainly focus on this, technically Force 2 can be very nasty because you got a 28k Vanguard with 2 crits each. And locking your own rear guards doesn't technically make you completely lose a field. So in many ways, this is more consistent than Raging Form because you don't need to always continuously build a field and have another Revenger in your hand as a grade 3. Don't underestimate it. So that's it for these reveals. What do you guys think about the new Kairi, Maelstrom Yaeverse, and Raging Fall Dragon Reverse? Overall, I just like all 3 of them. Kairi is basically just an evolution, but free. Maelstrom, I just love the tough choices that your opponent's going to have to make, whether they take the 2 damage in the face or lose a lot of cards in their hand. And Raging Fall looks disappointing at first, but after analyzing a little bit, it's actually a lot better than expected. No need to have another grade 3 in hand, no need to be resetting a board every single turn just to redo your play, and it's an alternate win con that could even stand up against Link Joker. So why not? And now with all the clans being revealed for Clan Collection, what deck are you looking forward to the most? Jewel Knights is very tempting to me, but I might not still build it because I am sticking with Sanctuary Guard Premium, as Sanctuary Guard is more consistent than Salome. The new Kagero cards are definitely nice, and I might even be tempted to build Dauntless Reverse, seeing its playstyle, although I am waiting for the Reverse first. The new Raging Fall Dragon, I might actually decide to play it. A little iffy about playing it right now, but it's a maybe. But the one I'm really looking forward to is definitely the new Maelstrom. I played Maelstrom Premium, so I'm definitely going to play this new Maelstrom, and also because this new Maelstrom is very nasty. And then finally, the new Star Vaders stuff, because it's basically a complete package for Star Vaders. So those are the decks I'm looking forward to, so go ahead and tell me yours. But on that, see you all next time.